Time Politics on Channels Television. I'm Millicent Walker. On the news this hour, President Muhammadu Buhari dissolves Obona Obla-led Special Investigative Panel of Recovery of Public Properties, adding to the list of sweeping changes he's made in the last 48 hours. Second batch of returnees from South Africa are homebound after delays due to controversy over landing permit from the South African government to Air Peace Airline. And President Muhammadu Buhari to address the United Nations General Assembly 74th session. Nigeria's president slated as the 5th out of 193 presidents to address the assembly. Apologize for that mix-up, but let's begin with just 24 hours after the dissolution of the economic management team headed by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. President Buhari has again wielded the big stick by dissolving the Special Presidential Investigative Panel for the Recovery of Public Property, SPIP. The special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina, says the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami, has been directed to immediately take over all outstanding investigations and other activities of the panel. The statement adds that the President is also looking forward to receiving the final Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, report on the ongoing investigations of the dissolved panel's chairman. Now, the panel, which was headed by Mr. Okoye Obla, was established in August 2017 by Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo to investigate specifically mandated cases of corruption, abuse of office, and similar offences by public officers. Well, let's get more perspectives on the President's action on the Special Investigative Panel for the Recovery of Public Property and also its implication. We have a guest who's joining us from our Abuja studios, Mr. Abiodun Aikomo, Special Assistant to the President on Anti-Corruption. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let's get right to it. What informed the President to take this decision now?
Well, you and I are aware that in recent times there have been a lot of issues around the operation and management of the committee. And I think that was the reason why the President took the decision that was taken yesterday.
Talking about the management, the directive was also that further appointment of the Attorney General of the Federation, Minister of Justice, taking over ongoing investigations. Now, a question many people are wondering is how much transparency can be expected? I mean, as an institution of government.
In terms of transparency, I do not think there is any reason to fear or doubt that the Attorney General will do the needful. The committee is a standing committee. It has ongoing investigations which are yet to be concluded. There are so many things going on. And the President has decided that the management should be changed and the panel should be dissolved. Nature harbors vacuum. That is the reason why the President directed that the Attorney General should take over. So what the Attorney General will do in the immediate is to see what is going on, study the situation on ground, and see how there will not be a vacuum or a gap in the process.
In truth, and that's really the question.
Steps.
Yes, that's really the question a lot of people are asking. And how can you convince them? Shouldn't this be independently driven, seeing that that panel is to investigate specifically mandated cases of corruption, abuse of office, and similar offences by public officers?
When you talk about independence, why can't or why wouldn't the Attorney General be independent? At any event, the Attorney General is not an investigator. The Attorney General is not a forensic accountant. The Attorney General is not a policeman. He will just be sitting at the helms of affairs to direct the affairs of the panel. So I do not see any reason why there will be fear or doubt in any quarter as to the transparency of the Attorney General. You and I note that there are already petitions that the committee is dealing with. The committee works through so many other agencies of the government. Policemen are involved. They leverage on existing structures. So what the Attorney General will be doing at the moment is to make sure that the committee is not without leadership, to provide necessary leadership until there is further directive from the president.
Is the president clipping the wings of the vice president? And I'm saying this because this appears to be the second panel that the vice president has been directly involved in. The first was the economic management team. Is there no love lost between the president and the vice president?
Millicent, I'm surprised that a senior journalist like you will be second-guessing the action of the president.
No, it's my job to ask the questions.
Under the relevant act that set up the panel, it is a presidential committee. The president has powers to give general directives and specific directives to the committee. So if the president feels at any point in time that the committee, a presidential committee that has been set up, is not, I mean, there are reasons to review the processes and the operations of the committee, and the president has done that, I do not think that should be construed as the president clipping the vice president's wing or anything in that regard. The president and the vice president were elected on the same ticket. They are partners in progress. In fact, the vice president is there to support the president constitutionally. At the time the committee was set up, it was a presidential committee that was set up pursuant to the powers of the president, which was handed down to the VP. So to say at this point that the president is trying to clip the wings of the VP is unfair. It's an unfair statement.
So you're saying the relationship is smooth and there is no crack in that relationship?
Of course not. Millicent, if there is a reorganization, just by way of analogy, in your organization, you are anchoring lunchtime politics, and management feels you should go to another program. Does that mean there is love lost between you and the management?
Mr. Ikomo, let's go over to something Mr. Bona Obla had mentioned in the past, and that is on the forgery allegations and also corruption allegations against him, saying that they're merely witch hunts by people who were uncomfortable with his anti-corruption fights. And sadly, we don't know what the ICPC has on him, or we also await the reports, like Mr. President also awaits that report. But, I mean, those are what he has said in the past.
Well, we will all await the outcome of the investigation of the ICPC. The ICPC is seized of the petition. Whatever petition or allegation has been leveled, Mr. Obla will defend himself before them. And when the report is out, we will all be properly guided. I cannot say anything on that at this moment.
All right. We would like to thank you, Abiodun Ikomo, Special Assistant to the President on Anti-Corruption. Thank you for joining us on the program.